Hello everyone, welcome to Simply Speaking, a podcast where I delve into topics surrounding life experiences and popular trends while analyzing human behavior. I'm your host, Fifi Hudson. I'll be uploading new episodes every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Let's get into it. Human tendency is to stick with what is comfortable or easiest, so people will stay with friendships that have been established for as long as possible, whether they are good or bad. It is also human nature to be selfish, so people will choose to engage in friendships at their convenience and leisure. Today, I will explore healthy and unhealthy friendships and ways to overcome bad friendships and maintain healthiness instead. So, in unhealthy friendships, the aspects of friendship are violated. Whether it's all of them or a few of them, there's some violation there. So, remember the aspects of friendship we looked at were love, honesty, trust, respect, support, kindness, loyalty, encouragement, reliability, consistency, patience, empathy. Those things, whether it's all or some, they're violated. Next point of unhealthy friendships is that only one party benefits or neither party benefits. So when somebody's taking advantage of the other person, or when two people are constantly at war and they're not really getting anything out of the friendship and it's just pretty toxic to stay together, that's what I'm talking about. There's a lack of boundaries. People don't respect each other, what their wants and their wishes and their needs, lack of boundaries. And the major categories, we have, your selfish friends, so people who make everything about themselves, who constantly talk about themselves, want to do things for themselves. They look down on other people and they're inconsiderate of other people's feelings because they're focused on themselves. You have, number 2, the users and manipulative people. So they use the information you've given them, whether it's private or very personal or close to your heart, and they use it against you. And they play on your insecurities to get what they want from you. There's those kinds of toxic and unhealthy friends. Then you have the negative or emotionally draining friends. They focus on all the bad things rather than the good things. They're always putting themselves or other people down. You don't want to deal with those people. It's very tiring. You have your unreliable friends, so they always ditch you and try to make promises, but they cannot keep those promises. You have your yes people, so they won't tell you the truth to spare your feelings, or they'll tell you what they think you would want to hear. Second to last, we have fake people. So they talk about you behind your back. They try to present a certain image of themselves, which is not true at all. I knew a lot of those. And the last one, the final one, out of, 7, is the competitors. They always try to one-up you. They have to be the best at everything, or at least better than you. So those are your unhealthy friendships. Selfish friends, users and manipulative people, negative and emotionally draining people, unreliable friends, people who say yes, fake friends, and the competitors. Those are the categories that I created. There's obviously way more, I'm sure, but those are the ones that I thought in general were fitting for my discussion. So, how to escape an unhealthy friendship? How do we escape unhealthy friendships? How do we overcome these situations? Well, you have to try to work through your problems and your disagreements. So whether it's having several conversations, one big conversation, you need to have that communication with the person and express your concerns and your feelings and why you think this is a bad situation to be in. And if it's really extreme and really serious, it's good to have a neutral third party come in to help mediate the situation. Another way to help escape or to handle an unhealthy friendship is to limit your exposure to that individual. So you only deal with them in a casual, neutral, specific setting or on a need-to basis. So if they were on a sports team with you, you only deal with them in that setting. Don't go hanging out at each other's houses or anything like that. If you only know them through work, only deal with them on that professional level. Don't, again, invite them into your personal life, into your personal space and whatnot. Deal with them on a need-to basis, only when you absolutely have to. Another way is if they're extremely toxic and unwavering in their ways, you're gonna have to just cut all ties. As hard as it is, just snip all ties. These are for people who have like really extreme or severe personality disorders, like, narcissism or antisocial personality disorder. You recognize certain signs, you take a step back. And obviously it would be good to seek a professional about like whether it's possible that these individuals have these personality disorders. If they wish you any kind of harm, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual harm, run for your life. Cut all the ties. Cut them all. Because it is not worth it. Last thing, if they lack accountability and empathy, run for your life. Because they will never be wrong. And they will always see you as the one who's wrong. Just run. Just don't look back. And the last point on how to escape or maneuver the unhealthy friendship situation is you have multiple people as friends. So you're not dependent on that one person to be your friend. Surround yourself with multiple people, multiple groups of friendships. Diversify your friend groups so that you are not limited to that one person. And if it doesn't work out, you're like, I don't have any friends, or I'm too scared to leave this friendship because I don't have any friends. No. Have multiple friends, multiple friend groups. As shy as you are, as reserved as you are, as introverted as you are, make it a point to have multiple groups of friends so you're not dependent on that one person. But yeah, all of these things require you to break the bad habits and behaviors that you formed within yourself. You just gotta do things one day at a time. So yeah, this is that portion of the unhealthy friendship discussion. Okay, moving on to the healthy relationship side of things. So healthy relationships happen when the aspects of friendships are demonstrated. Like I said, love, honesty, trust, respect, support, kindness, loyalty, encouragement, reliability, consistency, patience, and empathy. All these things must be exhibited for a healthy friendship. Healthy friendships, both parties are benefiting. You are growing together. You are challenging each other. You are uplifting each other, etc., etc. You are together. You are united. You're respectful. You're both benefiting. You're both getting something out of it. And that's positive. Both parties are putting in the same amount of effort and the same amount of work to make that friendship be good. Appropriate boundaries are set and they're respected. If I have a friend and she doesn't like doing certain things, we're just not going to do it. If she doesn't like eating certain foods, we're not going to eat it. If she doesn't like listening to certain things, we're not going to watch it. Plain and simple. Respect. If it goes against her religion or belief system to do certain things, we're just not going to do it. And so the major categories of healthy friendships that I have chosen, and obviously in these categories you can belong to more than one. So you have your social buddies, which are pretty casual. They're for specific groups or activities and socialization in general. So people who go to the movies together, people who play sports together, people who are in a band together. Those different scenarios. People who worship at the same place. Could be very much social. You have your confidants, so the friends who offer really good emotional support and advice. You could talk to them about pretty much anything without judgment, and they offer you the best advice, and they're there for you to rant and to cry, and then offer you actual good feedback and solutions. There's the challengers. I call them the challengers. They help you to grow and develop. They provide healthy competition, and they're ambitious and they're hardworking, so they push you to be the best version of yourself, and they lead by example based on what they're doing. You have your networking buddies, your resourceful buddies. They know people who can help you get access to jobs and certain opportunities in your life that you might need, or even friends who can help you connect and find romantic partners. All of that is good for your networking buddies, or they have access to certain resources or programs. Like, so if you have friends who work in healthcare, they might know certain things. If you have friends working in tech, they might know certain things about computers or technology, etc. That category, very important as well. Then you have your, I like to call advisors. They're different from your confidants because you don't necessarily talk about the emotional stuff. You more so talk objectively or from intellectually in terms of certain life essential things. So they offer great advice for life essentials: buying your first house, your first car, getting your first job. Can be emotional, but sometimes it's just more general, more broader than that. It's not like, oh, my boyfriend cheated on me. It's more so about the other aspects of life that aren't just relationships. I find that advisors are really good for that. So, how do you maintain a healthy friendship? You follow the key aspects of friendship that we listed earlier. You set and respect appropriate boundaries. So if it's against your friend's religion to drink, do not drink. Try to get them to drink. Don't drink around them. Just alcohol is a no-no. It's off limits. Boundaries are really important. What else? You have open and honest communication. If you don't like something, express yourself. Don't just bottle it up inside, because it's just not going to work out very well in the end. You don't want to let it bottle up inside and then you explode. Have open and honest communication. Tell them what you're really feeling. Know when to step back, and knowing when to jump in is another key aspect of healthy friendships. So some people need their space. You don't need to be constantly breathing down their neck. So step back. Sometimes some people, you're not giving them enough attention. So maybe jump in. But yeah, knowing when to pull back and when to jump in is very, very important. Giving people their space and giving them people the appropriate attention is very important. In addition to those things, exercising empathy, placing yourself in the other person's shoes, and exercising compassion, that is very, very important. Understand people's situations. So sometimes they're having a hard time in life. They're dealing with certain mental health issues, certain financial issues, certain personal issues, and they might not be fully committed to the friendship. Have a little bit of empathy and see their situation for what it is and work with them. Meet people at the level that they are at. Make accommodations for people. So if your friend is not used to confrontation or dealing with things head on per se, be a little bit on the gentler side when you are opening up to them. If your friend is a very anxious person, try not to do things that will easily upset them. Do activities that might be a bit more calm or low-key, and just meet them at their level until they maybe can reach their own personal change and grow and develop into doing more riskier or more exciting things. If your friend is shy, maybe not have too many of the other friends around, maybe just one or two, or do more one-on-one activities. Meet them at the level that they are at. Alrighty, so I gave all that talk about healthy and unhealthy friendships. So what are my experiences? So for me, starting with unhealthy friendships, they don't usually last that long. They might be for a season, they might be for a couple of years, but they tend not to last long. Okay, so one story I have, back in elementary school, I had one friend. We lived relatively close to each other. We'd go walk to and from school together, and she would just constantly lie about herself to make herself feel better, brag about her family and that they had all this money and all this stuff. And if I say anything, if I bring up ideas, she would shoot them down or make fun of them. She even spread rumors about me at one point, and then I just realized this is a waste of time, and I'm not benefiting from this in any way, and she's not that nice of a person, and she's a liar. So when I realized all those things, I just gradually pulled back and started hanging out with other groups of people, and then she obviously found her other friends and continued to do what she was doing. So yeah, I don't think it lasted that long, probably a few years, but yeah, in elementary school, you're only kids, so it takes you a while longer to figure things out. That is one unhealthy friendship that I had. Another unhealthy friendship that I formed in university. We were both involved in STEM programs, so like, science, tech, engineering, and math or medicine, and we had similar belief systems and same hobbies and interests, really into like movies and whatnot. And we used to say to each other, yeah, we're like on the same wavelength. We used to say that all the time. Like, I thought this person, she is my person. And I was excited to be her friend, and I thought it would last for quite a while. But she turned out to be very manipulative and self-serving, and I couldn't really follow her words. I had to look at her actions, and the friendship died pretty quickly in under a year because I couldn't trust her. So I think we did try to have a talk, but there was a lack of accountability on her part. So all she wanted to do was talk about what I did wrong and not what she did wrong. So it didn't work out. But yeah, she's a very charming person, so she knows how to manipulate people and bend things in certain situations into her favor. But once I realized that, I was like, sayonara, and I left. So yeah, apologies for my voice. I am fighting whatever this is. So saying all this to say, I just pulled back, or I just cut off these friendships. Sometimes I had a conversation, sometimes I just let it naturally drift apart. But either way, what I learned is if I see certain things in certain people, I just withdraw myself as quickly as possible. You might try for a little while, but then you're like, this is not worth it, and you just stop. So that's what you gotta do. You gotta recognize the warning signs from very on. So if they violate the key aspects of friendship, especially like their trust and respect, if that's not there, just leave. So yeah, that's my experiences with unhealthy friendships. Those are the two stories that I'm going to talk about anyway. So moving on to healthy friends. So pretty much my close friends and my best friend, those are the healthiest friendships I've had. And they have challenged me indirectly to do better academically and in life in general, because I've always been around academically inclined people. I've always been around people who are very independent and self-sufficient, and they're always there to offer me great advice and support, and they've helped me a lot. So for the first story, a couple years ago, I was sick and let my friends know what was happening, and they dropped off cards and flowers. But one friend, she wasn't in the same city as me, she was far away, and she went out of her way to have her mom personally deliver the flowers. So her mom came inside our house, we sat and talked for a few hours and had a really good conversation. It was her mom, my mom, and me, and her mom gave really, really great advice. She said to me not to dwell on the past, especially negative experiences, but to move forward and put the past behind you and focus on your health and well-being. And I really appreciated that experience, and I'll always remember it, and I'm really grateful to have her as a friend. Second story, this past summer, I had a party to celebrate my graduation. Outdoor party. Don't worry, people. We were social distancing. It was an outdoor party. And a whole bunch of my friends showed up. Even family members didn't show up, but my friends showed up. And they came with gifts. They even helped to set up because we were running late. And they recognized how big of a deal it was for me to graduate, especially being the first grandkid on a couple sides of the family. So it was a really big deal. And even though they lived far away, like over an hour away, some of them, they still came to support. And one friend, she couldn't make it, but then afterwards she actually met up with me, and I wasn't expecting anything, and she brought a gift, and I was surprised, and it was really, really nice. So those are examples of healthy friendships. They support you, your successes, and they support you when you're in a bad situation. And that's what you should look out for. If they're offering you that support and that love, then you know you're in a healthy friendship, no matter what happens. Even if they might not be as consistent, because like some of these friends, I don't see them for months and months on end, or I don't get to talk to them for weeks and weeks on end, but I'll try my best to connect, and they'll show up and they'll support. When you see that, when they show you that love and that support, it doesn't really matter as much if they're not as consistent. You might not see them every week or every day, but when you do see them, it's a good time and it's a good vibe, and there's a lot of happiness, there's a lot of joy. That's really, really important. There's a lot of love, there's a lot of respect, really, really important. And so that's been my experiences with healthy friendships. This ends another episode of Simply Speaking. I'm your host, Fifi Hudson. Thank you all for listening. See you all soon.